Dr. Ta stood at the window of his lab, looking out at the gas giant below. Its swirling orange clouds reminded him of the success drink his people enjoyed during celebrations. Today, he had every reason to celebrate. "It works," he said, holding up a small vial filled with blue liquid. The serum glowed faintly in the dim light of the lab. After 200 years of work, it finally works perfectly. The other scientists in the room, all chorus like him with their tall bodies, shimmering skin, and 4 arms, stopped their work and turned to look. Dr. Ta was not one to boast without reason. All test subjects responded. Asked Dr. Min, his closest assistant. 100% control in all 312 species we tested, Dr. Ta said. He set the vial carefully into a holder. The council will be very pleased. The chorus had built their empire across 3 galaxies. They were not warriors by nature. They were scientists and builders. Their 4 arms made them excellent at creating things, and their minds were quick to solve problems. But they had learned long ago that fighting wars was wasteful. Why destroy what you could simply control? Dr. Tai touched a screen on the wall, and it lit up with images of various aliens from across the stars. Each one had been given the serum, and each one now worked happily for the Chorus Empire. They built ships, grew food, and mined resources, all while thinking it was their own idea. The last group from the Orion sector became fully compliant in just 6 hours, Dr. Todd explained to his team. No side effects. No resistance. The door to the lab slid open with a soft sound. Commander Juan walked in, his military uniform deep blue against his pale iridescent skin. The scientist straightened up at once. "I hear congratulations are in order," Commander Juan said. He did not smile. Military chorus rarely did, but his upper arms were held in the position of respect. "Thank you, Commander," Dr. Ta said with a small bow. "The new formula is ready for wider use." Commander Juan picked up the vial and held it to the light with one of his lower arms. "Just in time. The Council has approved my request to explore a new arm of the galaxy." Dr. Ta felt a flutter of excitement. New galaxy arms meant new species to study. "Our long-range scans have found something interesting," the commander continued. "A small blue planet. The beings there have developed basic technology, but have not yet reached space travel. They appear to be divided." "Divided?" Dr. Min asked. "They fight among themselves. Many different groups, many different leaders." Commander Juan set the vial down. "The Council believes they would be useful workers if properly controlled. Their planet has many resources we need." Dr. Ta nodded. This was the Chorus way. Find new species, bring them into the Empire, and give them purpose. The serum made it peaceful. The aliens never suffered or fought back. They simply became part of the great Chorus civilization, working together for the good of all. At least, that's what the serum made them believe. "I want you to come with us, Dr. Tai," Commander Juan said. "We will take a small scout ship and collect some specimens for testing before the main fleet arrives." "When do we leave?" Dr. Tai asked, already thinking about what equipment he would need. "Tomorrow," Commander Juan replied. "The planet is called Earth by its inhabitants. They call themselves humans." Dr. Ta looked back at the swirling gas giant below. Soon, he would see a new world and study a new species. If the humans were as easy to control as the other 312 species, they would soon be happy members of the Empire. But unknown to Dr. Ta, the humans of Earth would prove very different from any species the Chorus had ever encountered before. Jun yawned as he walked through the empty park. His night shift at the Seoul Research Center had been long and boring. Nothing ever happened during his security rounds, but that was good. Boring meant safe. The moon was bright tonight, making the path easy to see. Jun checked his watch. 2:15 a.m. His apartment was just 10 minutes away. He thought about the raneon he would heat up when he got home. A strange sound made him stop. It was like a low hum that he could feel more than hear. Jun looked around but saw nothing unusual among the trees and benches. Then he noticed the light. At first, he thought it was just the moon playing tricks with the clouds. But this light was green, and it moved in a way clouds never would. "What is that?" Jun whispered to himself. He pulled out his phone to take a video, but before he could press record, the light became much brighter. Jun felt his body freeze. He couldn't move his arms or legs. His phone dropped to the ground. The light came closer, and Jun felt himself being lifted into the air. "Help!" He tried to shout, but no sound came out. The last thing he saw was the park getting smaller below him as he rose toward the strange light. Across the city, Hyun rubbed her tired eyes. The university lab was empty at this late hour, just how she liked it. As a biochemistry student, she preferred working when no one else was around to disturb her experiments. Just one more test, she told herself, mixing chemicals in a small tube. Hyun was researching how certain proteins reacted with brain chemicals. Her professor said her work was very promising. Suddenly, the lights in the lab flickered. Her computer screen went black, then came back on. "Great," Hyun muttered. "Power problems again." She stood up to check the circuit breaker when a green glow appeared at the window. Hyun walked closer, curious. The green light seemed to pulse with life. Before she could back away, the window silently slid open. Hyun felt her body become stiff and heavy. She couldn't even scream as she was pulled toward the window and out into the night air. Dr. Todd watched with interest as the unconscious humans were placed in clear stasis chambers aboard the Chorus scout ship. Commander Hwan had ordered them to collect 12 specimens from different parts of the planet. These two came from a large settlement on the eastern side of the major continent, reported Kill, the ship's pilot. The male was alone in an open area. The female was inside a building with many chemicals and equipment. Dr. Todd moved closer to examine the humans. They looked similar to many bipedal species he had studied before, but with some interesting differences. Their skin colors varied more than he expected. Their brain scans showed unusual patterns. "This female has interesting neural activity," Dr. Ta said, pointing to Hyun's stasis chamber. "She may have above-average intelligence for their species." Commander Hwan joined them on the collection deck. "We have all 12 specimens. Take us to the far side of their moon. We will set up our testing facility there." The ship hummed quietly as it rose higher into Earth's atmosphere. Soon it was beyond the reach of human radar and telescopes. No one on Earth noticed as it moved behind the moon and landed in a large crater. "Prepare the first testing chamber," Dr. Ta told his assistants. "I want to begin with these 2 specimens." He pointed to Jun and Hyun. The serum should work quickly on such primitive minds. The Chorus scientists moved with practiced efficiency, setting up their equipment in the lunar base. Dr. Ta prepared the mind control serum, filling several injectors with the glowing blue liquid. "How long do you expect until full compliance?" Commander Hwan asked. "Based on their brain patterns, I would guess 3 to 4 hours, Dr. Tae replied. "By tomorrow, these humans will tell us everything we need to know about their planet." As Hyun and Jun lay unconscious in their chambers, the Chorus had no idea that these humans would soon challenge everything they thought they knew about mind control. Jun opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt and his mouth was dry. He tried to move his arms, but found them strapped to a cold metal table. Above him, bright lights made him squint. "The male specimen is awake," said a voice unlike any Jun had ever heard. It sounded musical but flat, as if someone were playing a flute without feeling. Jun turned his head and saw them. Tall beings with skin that shimmered like fish scales in sunlight. Each had 4 long arms and large eyes that seemed to change color as they moved. Aliens, real aliens. He wanted to scream but found he couldn't. Fear locked his voice in his throat. One of the aliens stepped forward. "I am Dr. Tae," it said in perfect Korean, though its mouth moved strangely with the words. "You are part of an important scientific study. Please remain calm." Jun was anything but calm. His heart raced as Dr. Ta picked up a device that looked like a silver pen. At its tip was a small needle filled with glowing blue liquid. "This will not hurt," Dr. Ta said, pressing the device against Jun's neck. There was a small hiss, and Jun felt cold spreading from the spot. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then Jun felt strange, like he was floating above his own body. He could see and hear everything, but it all seemed far away, as if happening to someone else. "Can you sit up?" Dr. Tai asked, removing the straps. Jun found his body sitting up without him really deciding to do so. It was a strange feeling, like watching a movie of himself. "What is your name?" asked Dr. Ta. "Jun," he heard himself say, though he hadn't wanted to answer. "Good. The serum is working," Dr. Ta said to another alien. "Now let's check the female." In a room next door, Hyun was having a very different experience. When the blue serum entered her body, she felt the cold spread through her veins. Her vision blurred for a moment, then cleared. Unlike Jun, Hyun immediately understood what was happening. The aliens had given her some kind of drug. As a biochemistry student, she had studied how chemicals affected the brain. This felt like a mix of things that dulled the senses and relaxed the muscles. But something wasn't right. She could feel the drug trying to take over her mind, but it wasn't completely working. There was a disconnect. She could still think clearly, even as her body became more relaxed and ready to obey. "Can you hear me?" asked an alien with shimmering skin. "Yes," Hyun answered, deciding it was best to pretend the drug was working fully. She kept her face blank and her voice flat. "Stand up," the alien ordered. Hyun stood, moving slowly as if in a trance. But inside her mind, she was fully alert, studying everything around her. Dr. Tae reviewed the brain scans of the two humans with growing confusion. The male showed the expected patterns of a mind under control, but with unusual activity in areas Dr. Ta hadn't seen before. The female scan was even stranger, showing resistance patterns that shouldn't be possible for a first exposure to the serum. "Is something wrong?" Commander Hwan asked, entering the lab. "The serum is working," Dr. Ta said, "but not exactly as expected. Look at these readings." He pointed to the screen showing colorful images of the humans' brains. "What does it mean?" asked the commander. "I'm not sure," Dr. Tai admitted. "In all 312 species we tested, none have shown these patterns. It's as if parts of their minds are resistant to the serum." "Increase the dose," ordered Commander Hwan. Dr. Ta hesitated. "That could be dangerous without proper testing." "We need results," the commander insisted. "The main fleet needs to know if these humans will be useful to our empire." As they talked, neither noticed Hyun watching them carefully through half-closed eyes, understanding more than they realized. In the next room, Jun was also becoming aware that while his body obeyed the aliens, his mind remained his own. The experiment had begun, but not in the way the chorus had planned. Dr. Ta stood in front of a large screen, speaking to the chorus council. The 6 leaders of the chorus empire looked down at him with their color-changing eyes. "The humans show unexpected resistance," Dr. Ta explained. "The serum works, but not completely." The head council member leaned forward. "Explain this resistance." "Their brains process the serum differently," Dr. Ta said. "They appear controlled on the outside, but brain scans show they still have inner thoughts we cannot access." "Is this a threat to our plans?" asked another council member. "No," Commander Hwan cut in. "It just means we need more study. These humans could be very valuable if we understand how they resist." The council talked among themselves, their 4 arms moving in the patterns that showed deep thinking. Finally, they'd reached a decision. "Bring the specimens to the main fleet," ordered the head council member. "We will study them more closely." In their holding cells, Jun and Hyun were placed next to each other. The aliens thought they were fully controlled, so they didn't worry about the humans talking. This was a mistake. When no aliens were watching, Jun whispered to Hyun, "Can you hear me?" Are you really under control? Hyun glanced around carefully. No, I'm pretending. You too. Jun nodded. I can't fight my body when they give direct orders, but my mind is still mine. I'm studying their serum, Hyun whispered. When they tested my blood earlier, I saw the screens. There's something in human blood that fights the serum. What do we do? Jun asked. Keep pretending, Hyun said. And watch everything. Learn all we can. Their conversation ended as Dr. Tai entered the room. We are moving you to our main ship, he told them. The journey will take 6 hours. As they were led to a transport shuttle, Hyun noticed a small lab they passed. Inside were vials of the blue serum. She made a mental note of the location. During the journey, Dr. Tai ran more tests on the humans. He increased the serum dose for Jun, who felt more disconnected from his body, but still kept his thoughts. Stand up, Dr. Tai ordered. Jun stood. Tell me what you are thinking, Dr. Ta said. This was dangerous. Jun had to be careful. I am thinking that I will serve, he said in a flat voice, hiding his real thoughts. Dr. Tai made notes on his screen. The higher dose is working better. Later, when Jun was returned to the holding area, he felt sick and dizzy from the extra serum. Hyun looked at him with worry. Are you okay? She whispered. They gave me more serum, Jun said. It's harder to fight, but I still can. Hyun thought quickly. I need to get a sample of that serum. I think I can figure out why we're resistant. When they arrived at the main chorus fleet, Jun and Hyun were amazed. Hundreds of massive ships floated in space. The ship they boarded was bigger than a city. As they were led through long hallways, they saw other aliens, not chorus, but different species. All walked with blank faces and empty eyes. They were truly under control. These must be other species they've conquered, Hyun whispered when no one was listening. In the main lab, Commander Hwan met with a group of high-ranking chorus. These humans are special, he told them. Their resistance could be useful if we can understand it. One chorus stepped forward to look at the humans more closely, or dangerous if we cannot control them fully. That's why we need more tests, Dr. Ta said. And more specimens. Commander Hwan nodded. I've already ordered the collection ship to bring more humans. That night, as Jun and Hyun pretended to sleep in their cells, Hyun whispered, I have a plan. During tomorrow's tests, I'm going to try to get access to their lab equipment. If I can study the serum, I might find a way to help us. Jun looked at her with hope. Do you really think we can fight this? Yes, Hyun said firmly. Something in our blood gives us immunity. And if we can understand it, maybe we can use it. Unknown to them, a small alien from another species had overheard. This alien, named Shuri, had been fighting the serum's effects for years. And now, for the first time, Shuri felt hope. Jun watched carefully as the chorus moved around the ship. He kept his face blank, and his body relaxed, just as Hyun had taught him. The aliens thought he was under their control, so they talked freely around him. The human brain has an extra fold here, Dr. Ta was saying to another scientist. He pointed to a screen showing brain scans. I think this area helps them resist the serum. Jun remembered this information to tell Hyun later. Every little fact might help them escape. A chorus guard ordered Jun to clean some equipment. As he worked, Jun studied the ship's layout. He noticed which doors needed special access and where the guards stood. He counted how many steps it took to walk from one area to another. All of this might be useful later. In another part of the ship, Hyun was being tested again. Dr. Ta had increased her serum dose 3 times, but she still kept her mind clear. It was harder now. Sometimes she felt foggy and slow, but she fought against it. Stand here, Dr. Ta ordered, pointing to a machine. Hyun stood where he pointed. The machine hummed and scanned her body. Blood sample next, Dr. Ta said. As he took her blood, Hyun watched carefully. The blood went into a machine that separated it into different parts. On a screen, she could see her blood's components, One protein glowed differently than the others when mixed with the serum. Interesting, Dr. Ta muttered. This protein seems to break down the control element. Hyun tried not to react, but her heart beat faster. This was important information. After the tests, a small alien with green skin and large eyes led Hyun back to her cell. When they were alone in the hallway, the alien spoke in a whisper. "You're not really controlled, are you?" Hyun froze. Should she admit the truth? It could be a trap. The alien looked around nervously. "It's okay. I'm Shuri. I'm not fully controlled either. I've been fighting it for years." Hyun decided to take a chance. "How did you know?" "Your eyes," Shuri said. "They're too alert, too aware. The truly controlled have empty eyes." "Can you help us?" Hyun asked quietly. Shuri nodded. "Maybe we can help each other. My people have been slaves for 30 years, but we're slowly building resistance with each generation." That night, Shuri snuck into the humans' holding area. Jun and Hyun listened as Shuri explained the Chorus Empire. "They've taken over 12 galaxies," Shuri whispered. "Hundreds of planets, thousands of species, all controlled by the serum. Has anyone ever escaped?" Jun asked. Shuri shook her head. "A few have tried. They were caught, and given so much serum their minds were destroyed." Hyun shared what she had learned. "There's a protein in human blood that fights the serum. If I could get to a lab, I might be able to make something that helps us stay clear-minded." "I work in the smaller lab," Shuri said. "I could get you in there when the main scientists are sleeping." They made a plan. The next day, when Hyun was taken for tests, she would pretend to be fully controlled. Then Shuri would volunteer to take her back to her cell, but would actually take her to the small lab. The plan worked. While Dr. Tai and the other main scientists were in a meeting with Commander Hwan, Shuri led Hyun to the small lab. "We have 20 minutes at most," Shuri said. Hyun worked quickly, taking a sample of her own blood and mixing it with different chemicals. She separated the special protein and made a concentrated solution. "This should strengthen our natural resistance," she explained to Shuri. "But I need to test it." They heard footsteps approaching. Quickly, Hyun hid the solution in a small container that Shuri gave her. "Tomorrow, we'll try it on Jun first," Hyun whispered as they left the lab. "If it works, we can make more." Back in their cells, Jun asked what happened. "I think I found a way to fight the serum completely," Hyun said quietly. "And with Shuri's help, we might be able to do more than just escape." "What do you mean?" Jun asked. Hyun's eyes shone with determination. "We might be able to free all the other species too." The next morning, Hyun carefully took out the small container Shuri had given her. Inside was the solution she had made from her blood protein. "Are you sure this is safe?" Jun asked, looking at the clear liquid. "No," Hyun admitted, "but I think it will work. The protein in our blood already fights the serum naturally. This is just a stronger version." Jun nodded. "I'll try it. They're giving me more serum each day. It's getting harder to keep my mind clear." Hyun handed him the container. Jun drank the solution quickly and handed the empty container back. They waited, not sure what would happen. "I don't feel any different," Jun said after a few minutes. "We'll know if it works when they give you the next dose of serum," Hyun said. Later that day, Dr. Ta brought Jun to the main lab. Commander Hwan was there, watching. "Today, we will increase the dose by 50%, Dr. Ta announced. "If this doesn't achieve full control, we may need to consider these humans too resistant for practical use." Commander Hwan frowned. "That would be disappointing. Their planet has many resources we need." Dr. Ta pressed the injector against Jun's neck. The blue serum entered his body. Jun felt the usual cold spread through his veins, but something was different. Instead of the foggy feeling he usually got, his mind stayed completely clear. Hyun's solution was working. Jun was careful to keep his face blank and his body loose. He had to pretend the serum was working even better than before. "How do you feel?" Dr. Ta asked. "I serve the chorus," Jun said in a flat voice. Inside, he was excited. He could think clearly even with the strongest dose yet. Over the next few days, more humans arrived on the ship. The chorus had taken 10 more people from Earth. Like Jun and Hyun, these humans also showed resistance to the serum. When the new humans were brought to the holding area, Jun and Hyun found ways to whisper to them. Pretend the serum controls you, Hyun told a scared woman named Da. But know that you can keep your real thoughts hidden. What do they want from us? Dai asked. They want to control Earth, Jun explained. They'd done it to thousands of other planets. With Suri's help, Hyun made more of the protein solution. They gave it to the new humans, teaching them how to act controlled while keeping their minds free. Dr. Tai was getting frustrated. He reported to Commander Hwan in the command center. The humans continue to show unusual brain activity, he said. Even with increased doses, we cannot achieve the same level of control as with other species. Commander Hwan studied the reports. But they obey commands. Yes, Dr. Ta said. They follow orders perfectly, but their brain scans show they may still have private thoughts we cannot access. Then we proceed with the plan, Commander Hwan decided. If they obey, that is enough. We will begin the Earth invasion in 30 days. What the chorus didn't know was that Shuri had placed a small listening device in the command center. The humans heard everything. That night, all 12 humans met with Shuri in the holding area. They're planning to invade Earth in 30 days, Jun told the group. We need to stop them. How? Asked Da. There are only 12 of us against thousands of them. Hyun stepped forward. I've been studying their ship systems when they take me to the lab. The chorus are connected by a neural network. That's why they never develop resistance to their own serum. They share thoughts naturally. Could we use that against them? Jun asked. Hyun nodded. Maybe. If we could modify the protein solution and introduce it into their neural network, we might be able to disrupt their connection. Shuri's eyes widened. That could work. And there's more. Some of the other species are developing slight resistance, like my people. If we could sprig your solution, we might wake up enough of them to help. For the first time, Jun felt real hope. Then we have a plan. We'll form a resistance right under their noses. As the humans talked quietly, more enslaved aliens passed by their holding area. Most had empty eyes, but a few showed tiny flickers of awareness. The resistance was small now, but it was growing, and the chorus had no idea what was coming. Over the next week, Hyun worked whenever she could in the small lab. Shuri helped by creating reasons for Hyun to be there, telling the chorus guards that Dr. Tai needed special tests run. I think I've got it, Hyun said one day, holding up a vial of pale green liquid. This should enhance our natural immunity even more. Shuri looked at the vial with hope in her large eyes. Can you make enough for all the humans? Yes, but we need more than that, Hyun said. We need to find a way to spread it to the chorus neural network. That night, Jun gathered all the humans in their holding area. They sat in a circle, speaking in whispers. Hyun has made a stronger immunity enhancer, Jun told them. Everyone will get some tomorrow. It will help you stay clear-minded even when they give you the serum. What's the plan after that? Asked Da. Jun explained what they had learned about the ship's layout and its systems. The chorus have a central control room where their neural network is managed. If we can get Hyun's counter serum into that system, we might be able to break their connection temporarily. And cause confusion, added another human named Gil. Enough for us to send a warning to Earth. The next day, the humans took turns going to the small lab under various excuses. Each received a dose of Hyun's green counter serum. The effect was immediate. Their minds became sharper and more resistant to the chorus control. Meanwhile, Jun learned something important while cleaning the command center. The chorus were preparing special invasion pods to send to Earth. These pods would release the mind control serum into Earth's atmosphere. They planned to control whole cities at once. Jun told the others that night, not just individuals. We need to move faster, Hyun said. I've been studying the chorus biology. Their neural network connects through small implants at the base of their necks. The network needs regular updates, which happen through a mist released in their sleeping quarters. Shuri nodded. That's right. The mist refreshes the connection every 3 days. If we could add my counter serum to that mist, Hyun said, it might disrupt their connection. How do we get access to their sleeping quarters? Gil asked. Jun smiled. I think I know. Commander Hwan has ordered me to help prepare the invasion pods. Those are kept near the chorus living area. Dr. Tai was becoming more worried. Despite increasing the serum doses, the humans still showed unusual brain activity. Yet they obeyed every command perfectly. It doesn't make sense, he told his assistant. Their brains show resistance, but their bodies comply completely. Perhaps their bodies and minds have different control centers, suggested the assistant. Dr. Ta considered this. An interesting theory. We should run more tests. But time was running out. Commander Hwan was pushing to start the Earth invasion soon. The fleet was already moving toward Earth's solar system. Jun was working on the invasion pods when he found an opportunity. The chorus supervising him was called away for a meeting. Jun quickly explored the area and found the mist distribution system for the chorus sleeping quarters. He marked the location in his mind and returned to his work before the supervisor came back. I found it, he whispered to Hyun that night. I know where we can add your counter serum to their mist system. Hyun had used her time in the lab to make a large batch of the counter serum. It was hidden in containers that Shuri had helped her disguise as cleaning supplies. Tomorrow is Mist Day, Shuri told them. All chorus will receive their neural network update. If we're going to act, it must be then. Jun looked around at the 12 humans, all now clear-minded thanks to Hyun's counter serum. Tomorrow then, we'll have one chance to get this right. What they didn't know was that Dr. Ta had been watching Hyun more carefully. He had noticed small changes in her behavior, not enough to raise serious alarm, but enough to make him suspicious. As the humans finalized their plan, Dr. Tai was setting up special monitoring equipment in the lab where Hyun would be working the next day. The stage was set for the most important day in human history, the day they would fight back against mind control. Morning came quickly. Jun was sent to work on the invasion pods as usual. Hyun was taken to the lab where Dr. Ta waited with his new monitoring equipment. Today we will try something different, Dr. Ta told Hyun. I want to observe your brain waves while you perform simple tasks. Hyun kept her face blank, but inside she felt worried. Dr. Ta was watching her too closely. She needed to be extra careful. Meanwhile, Jun worked near the mist distribution system. He had the container of counter serum hidden under his work clothes. He just needed a few minutes alone to add it to the system. Continue working, his supervisor told him. I must attend the command meeting. This was his chance. As soon as the supervisor left, Jun quickly moved to the distribution system. He opened a small panel and poured Hyun's green counter serum into the main tank. The liquid mixed with the blue mist solution already there, turning it slightly teal. Jun closed the panel and returned to his work just as another chorus walked by. The first part of their plan was complete. In the lab, Dr. Tai was puzzled by Hyun's brain readings. Your brain shows activity patterns that suggest you are not fully under control, he said, showing her the screen. Yet you obey all commands perfectly. How is this possible? Hyun knew she needed to distract him. Perhaps humans have a brain structure that appears active even when controlled, she suggested in a flat voice. Dr. Ta considered this. Interesting theory. I want to try. He was interrupted by a message from Commander Hwan. Come to the command center immediately. We are finalizing the Earth invasion plan. Dr. Ta looked annoyed at the interruption, but had to obey. Stay here, he ordered Hyun. Do not move until I return. As soon as he left, Hyun checked the time. The neural network mist would be released in the chorus sleeping quarters in 20 minutes. She needed to warn the other humans to be ready. Using a communication device Shuri had given her, Hyun sent a simple message, "Missed in 20. Be ready." Jun received the message and quickly passed it to the others. Soon, all 12 humans were prepared. They continued their assigned tasks, waiting for the moment. At exactly noon, a soft hissing sound filled the chorus sleeping quarters as the mist was released. The teal-colored mist spread through the ventilation system to other parts of the ship where chorus were working. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then a chorus scientist dropped a tool and looked around in confusion. Another chorus stopped mid-sentence during a report. Commander Huan was in the middle of explaining the invasion plan when he suddenly clutched his head. "What is happening?" he demanded. "I can't feel the network." All around the ship, chorus were experiencing the same thing. For the first time in their lives, their minds were completely separate from each other. The counter-serum had worked. Jun saw his chance. With his supervisor distracted and confused, he ran to the communication center. 2 other humans, Gil and Dai, joined him there. "We need to send a warning to Earth," Jun said, "and disable these invasion pods." The communication center was mostly empty. The few chorus, there were too confused to stop the humans. Jun sat at the control panel and started typing a message. "To Earth governments. Alien invasion planned. Mind control technology. Prepare defenses. Message from captured humans on alien ship." He sent the message toward Earth on all frequencies. Dr. Tai stumbled back to the lab, his mind reeling from the loss of the network connection. He found Hyun standing exactly where he had left her. "What did you do?" he demanded, his voice shaking. "How did you affect our network?" For the first time, Hyun let her true awareness show in her eyes. "Humans can't be controlled like the others," she said. "We're too individual, too different from each other." Dr. Tai stared at her with new understanding. "You were never under control," he whispered. "No," Hyun said. "None of us were. And now, neither are you." Outside the lab, chaos spread throughout the ship. Humans were moving freely, helping confused aliens from other species. Some chorus tried to fight back, but most were too disoriented without their neural network. The uprising had begun. The next few hours were filled with confusion and hope. Throughout the massive chorus ship, aliens of all kinds were waking up from their controlled state. Some had been slaves for generations and didn't know how to act on their own. Jun and Gil worked to disable the invasion pods, making sure they could never be used against Earth. Dai helped other humans free aliens from their holding areas. Hyun faced Dr. Tai in the lab. The chorus scientist looked lost without his neural network. "How do you live like this?" he asked Hyun. "All alone in your own mind." "We're not alone," Hyun explained. "Humans connect through choice, not through forced networks. We talk, we share, we help each other because we want to, not because we have to." Dr. Tai seemed to consider this. "I've never had to make my own choices before," he admitted. "The network always guided us." "Maybe that's why your serum never worked properly on humans," Hyun suggested. "We're used to being individuals. Our brains fight against outside control." On the command deck, Commander Huan was trying to regain control of the ship. Some chorus officers had recovered enough to follow his orders, but many were still confused. "Capture the humans," he shouted. "They did this to us." But it was too late. The humans had already spread Hyun's counter-serum to other parts of the ship, and they had allies now. Aliens from other species who had been waiting for a chance to break free. Shuri led a group of her people to the communication center. "We need to contact the other ships in the fleet," she told Jun. "We can spread the counter-serum formula to them too." Jun nodded and helped her send the formula to every ship in the chorus fleet. Soon, reports came in of confusion spreading throughout the entire alien armada. Back on Earth, military bases around the world received Jun's warning message. At first, many didn't believe it. Alien invasions seemed like science fiction, but when their telescopes showed a large fleet of strange ships near the moon, they started to prepare. Fighter jets were readied. Missile defenses were activated. The people of Earth prepared for their first contact with alien life, and it would be a fight for their freedom. But instead of an invasion, Earth's defenders watched in surprise as the alien fleet seemed to fall into chaos. Ships moved in random patterns. Some drifted away from Earth completely. On the main chorus ship, Dr. Ta made a decision. For the first time in his life, he chose his own path instead of following the network. "Commander Huan is wrong," he told Hyun. "We should not be forcing other species to serve us. I want to help you." Together, they went to the ship's main laboratory, where Dr. Ta showed Hyun how to broadcast the counter-serum formula to every ship in the fleet. "This will free everyone," he said. Commander Huan and his loyal officers tried to stop them, but Jun and the other humans, along with their new alien allies, protected the laboratory. "You cannot fight all of us," Jun told the commander. "Too many are awake now." 3 days later, a new council met on the main deck of the chorus ship. It included humans, chorus who had accepted their new individual freedom, and representatives from dozens of other formerly enslaved species. "We must build something new," said Shuri. "Not an empire built on control, but an alliance built on choice." Jun looked around at the amazing gathering of different beings from across the galaxy. "Humans would be proud to join such an alliance," he said. Dr. Tae, now working to help those still suffering from serum withdrawal, nodded in agreement. "From this day forward, no species will control another," he promised. Hyun smiled as she watched Earth growing larger in the view screen as their ship approached. They were going home, not as victims, but as heroes. And they were bringing new friends, beings from across the stars who had been freed because humans had one simple, powerful trait: minds that refused to be controlled. Humanity had not only saved itself, but had liberated countless other species. Their stand against mind control had changed the galaxy forever. And it had all started because the chorus serum worked on everyone. Until they tried it on humans.